Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, a.k.a. the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week, Ricky, Lauren, and myself, and we have a special guest on, Tara. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You have all sorts of, we were talking before the podcast even started about all the different things that you do and what we were going to narrow it down to for the podcast. So let's tell everyone about everything that you do.
Okay.
And then we'll have an episode 2 on going over it.
Well, we'll start out with my health and wellness business. I've been training for the last 9.5 years. I basically help people balance their whole entire life. Like, it's from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. So, like, we get personal, like, you know, to dig in there and, like, just find your balance and just make you happy.
Very cool. So that's number one.
That's number one.
So let's go on to the next thing.
My favorite, well, one of my favorites, Clover. So I work for a marijuana company here in Kansas City, and I get to sell weed legally. But no, it's so cool to be a part of history. Like, I was a part of the signatures and getting people to sign it to even get it on the ballot, and then to get people to vote. And just to see it go through and just be a part of, like, that's, like, huge here in Missouri. So just being out there, changing the stigma, showing people, hey, this is not, you know, a dime bag on the corner. This is, you know, gummies and drinks and chocolates and just different ways to help people, because people suffer from pain, from no sleep, from anxiety. And it's like, we're such a prescription-driven country, and we're finally breaking away from that. And it's like, I want to educate people about that, because, like, my main demographic is women from 40 to 80. So those women like their weed.
That's actually pretty surprising. Like, I thought the demographic would be a little different.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your vets, you know, that, you know, use it, you know, pretty heavily, and, you know, you've got to love those, you know, 70s guys. But no, it's your soccer mom that just is like, okay, I got like 5 kids and I have a husband and a house and I can't sleep. But, you know, it's not all about weed. Weed is not going to cure you. It's about, you know, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, releasing your mind, whether it be like a bath or journaling or whatever. But it's, you know, there's different ways to use it.
So I feel like you right now the floodgates have opened here in Missouri. And
yes,
it is crazy, crazy, crazy of what's happening. And you came by the office, what was it, like 2 weeks ago? Something like that.
It's been, yeah.
And we were talking about just the amount of money that's being moved and trying to supply it with the demand right now. Mm-hmm. So what was the exact date where it all kind of opened up?
February 3rd.
So we're like a month and a half in?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what does the last month and a half look like for you?
I don't remember it. No, it's been great. I mean, just to see the love and you know, the people who are so excited for it to become legal here in Missouri, it's just been awesome. And just the connections, like we connected with the FAC, you know, the MMA fighting, just, you know, different people like that you normally wouldn't, like, connect with and be a part of. So it's like we get to be a part of these, like, big groups and get recognized. And it's like just giving us a new, like, fresh face, like, you know, hey, this is us and this is, you know, who we are, and we're cool. We're cool to hang out with.
So that opens up beginning of February. Mm-hmm. Rollout happens. And explain Clover a little bit on what they do, because you guys are not a dispensary, correct?
Correct. We are not a dispensary. We're manufacturing. We have 5 kitchens. So we make drinks, we make gummies, we make chocolates, we make suckers, we have vape carts, we have pre-rolls, and then we have a whole new line of stuff that's getting ready to drop too. So, yeah, we do the whole thing.
Well, that sounds exciting. When does that news come out?
The new stuff, I'm guessing probably here in the next couple of weeks. We have a whole kind of healthcare line that's coming out. That'll be soft gels and tinctures and pain creams that you use together for relief or relax or sleep.
Very cool.
So I know we were talking before, we should have just been rolling the cameras for a while. Your company is very, very large, and you just took on how many additional employees?
I think over 70.
Yeah, like
Wow.
just recently. Mm-hmm. And what's like the volume distribution that you guys are running right now?
To like each store, or like, or you mean just like in?
Just your company as a whole, like.
Oh man, I just so much because we have so many different SKUs. It's a lot. I mean, we're doing deliveries, like twice a week now instead of once a week. But it's a lot.
We were just talking about we need to start running ATMs at these places just because of the money that is moving through there.
Yes.
And it's something I think so many people thought overnight, like that becoming legal with just everything would go to shit in a handbasket. Like, and I don't think I've been to Colorado. I've been to these places that I don't think they're a complete wreck because of that. And
Right.
I think there is a very bad stigma with it. And what does it look like changing that and progressing in the space?
Educating, just like being out there and being in the public and being at just like random places and just talking to people, because like they're like, well, what are you like, well, what do you do? And it's like, I'm here to educate on it. Like, I need to find out, what, symptoms do you have? Are you having pain issues? Are you having sleep issues? And I can tell you a list of terpenes that are going to benefit you to help aid you in, whatever relief that you're, seeking. But, just being out in the public, like we've got to do so many cool events that wasn't related around cannabis. That was like yoga festivals and, the fights and stuff like that. And just, getting our name out there and just saying, hey, we're top quality. We send our stuff, to the state before, or we test our stuff before we even send it out to the state. But it's like, we're high quality and we're top shelf, and we want to show people that.
So what do testing processes look like?
So many tests, because like our consistency is like down to the point. Like if you take our gummy and cut it in half, you're going to get the same consistency all the way through. Same thing with our drinks. If we have a little shot glass that's actually built in to the drink, and if you do a shot of that, you're getting that exact amount of THC.
They probably need to do that on like liquor bottles.
They might need to. So just for anybody that's listening that might not know, could you explain what a terpene is?
Yes, terpenes are like effects. So like lemons. Lemons is a terpene. Pine is a terpene. They give you certain smells, certain tastes, and certain effects. Lavender has effects on, calming you. Those are the same effects that are in terpenes. Certain terpenes are going to help you in sleep or pain relief.
So where have you came up with all this information that you know about on weed?
Well, when I was doing my health and wellness business, I was kind of doing this job on the down low. Like I was helping some of my clients with THC products because the pills weren't, they didn't want to take the pills, and the pills were tearing their guts up, and just like, they didn't want to do that. So I would help them alternatively. And so I learned about, what effects have, and, different strains and different things like that. And then whenever I started with Clover, they provided me with education. They had, they would bring in the people who made the recipes and would show you how they were made. I would go back in the kitchens and just watch how the whole entire process would go. So it's just like me and just getting out there and doing my own education.
Very cool. So the wellness thing, that started, what was that, 9
years ago.
9 years ago?
That's a really long time to be a coach. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Most people kind of fizzle out really after a year or two. That's very cool.
Yeah. COVID was, actually kind of really boosted my business because I had a smaller gym, and then COVID hit and everything shut down. I was like, well, I'll just take it online and in home. Well, everybody loved that.
So what got you into the wellness space originally?
I had worked in healthcare for 12 years, and I just saw the other side of healthcare. It's putting a Band-Aid on things and not looking at the cure, and just how everything is completely backwards from if we started with the food that we ate and the exercise and the right water that we're drinking, we can cure a lot of diseases and live healthier lives. But the way our food is cooked and not cooked, and the soil, and I mean, it all has like effects on us. But yeah, I just saw that the other side of it, and I was like, I do not want to be a part of this. So that's when I really got into, like, we can heal from the inside out by the right foods, you know, the right energy, the right sleep, and everything. You can heal.
I am a big advocate on, I hate modern day medicine, and I look at things if it was around 70 years ago or not. And I feel like everyone is chasing some new way to do everything. And it's, if you're fat, you're fat. Like, you need to be in the gym. Like, and as black and white as it is, a lot of people want to like find a new pill that's going to make it easier. They want an easy route on everything, that you need to eat healthier. Like, whatever it is, people do the same thing in business. And it's, I feel that there's a lot in the wellness space that is probably a pretty difficult space to run in, just because people jump from like coach to coach to coach to coach, thinking someone's going to have this magic recipe or magic pill for them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, Arnold did it drinking eggs and doing just, and you watched all these guys
smoking weed.
And
you don't hear about that part.
Yeah,
as
you
much.
don't hear about that
He
part.
did. He
I
did
believe
the
it.
whole time, like through his lifting, like winning like the Olympias. He smoked.
That's awesome. And was laying brick.
Yeah.
Like, he was a bricklayer. I don't know if you knew that.
I actually did not know that. That's
Now you know.
new facts. That's probably why he was so jacked.
It probably that was the actual reason.
That was actually it. Like,
Yes, but I figured that out though in my training, because it was the patterns that people kept repeating that kept sending them back to that old thing. So we would go deeper, like, well, let's dig in deeper. Why do you keep going back to that same old habit or same toxic trait, or, you know, let's dig in why you do the things that you do. And so whenever we did that, it would change their perception. And I never said we were on a diet. Everything's in balance. If you want a freaking cupcake, eat the cupcake.
Right.
Eat it for breakfast, though. Then you have the whole day to burn it off. So it's like changing mindset around food, because everything's around food and alcohol, like everything that we do. So
Exhibit A.
teaching them when you go to a family buffet, getting a salad plate and getting a spoon and taking 2 bites of everything you want. Because then you're getting everything you want, but you're getting those 2 bites that satisfies you. Then if you really like something, then go back and have a little bit more. But teaching moderation and just those old habits. And it's like, that's how like I would help change people.
I will say that I've been to Joy Walk with Ricky before, and he had no self-control. Zero.
I know what I like.
He didn't do no 2-bite rule.
It was
Was
not.
it a
It was
cheat
not
meal?
the 2-bite rule. I wish.
Okay.
I wish it was.
Okay.
See, that's the other thing is like the whole cheat meal deal, and I kind of struggle with like modern day like dieting, that people want to live so strict all the time. Now, I'm definitely not somebody to probably give any dieting advice, so I just want everyone to know.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. I'm not a certified nutritionist whatsoever, but it's finding something you can live by, that you live a happy, well-balanced life with it, that if I'm going out to a nice restaurant, I'm going to have dessert with it.
Right.
Period. And it's like, if it is a Friday and it's just been a week or whatever, and I want to walk across the street, get Betty Ray's, I'm going to do it. And no one's going to tell me yes or no. Mm-hmm. But it's just like one of those things that majority of the time I will eat well. But I think so many people live by this, like, you know what, Sunday I'm just going to completely wreck myself on eating. And then they're like, Monday sucks. Like, and I get back on it by Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, because you ate like complete dog shit on Sunday, like worse than you, like, I just don't get that.
And
Yeah.
the bodybuilding space really hasn't helped any of that.
Oh, it makes it way worse.
I've trained or prepped a few clients for bodybuilding shows and stuff like that. And it seems like females especially, but guys just as much, when you're on that strict of a diet and you get so lean, which is not practical to be that year round. So eventually you gain your body fat back. But the mental challenges that come from dieting that hard for so long, that can be a lot to overcome.
Oh, it's terrible. I've had so many female friends who, one, never got their periods back.
Yep.
And then number two, they've messed up like their whole cycles and just their hormones are like crap. But yeah, that's a thing. They take it to that extreme. And you're like, yeah, you can look like that for 24 hours, but then you immediately will put weight and water and everything back on to function. But yeah, that's a huge struggle. But some people can go 100% in discipline and do it. And other people have to have that balance. But it's like finding out how you work. Like, how do I tick? What sets me off? What's my triggers? Do I eat because I'm bored? Do I eat because I'm emotional? Like, you have to dig deep. You got to like really like, shit, why do I do the things I do? Why do I say the things I say? Because that's the same thing with alcohol. You can go all week long. You can train hard. You can go to work. You can do your business, eat well. Then on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're drinking Friday night with the boys. Saturday night, you're going out with a family dinner with the wife. Sunday, it's the Chiefs game. And then you feel like shit Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm going to get back on the program.
Yeah, that's I've lived that. She was talking about my schedule. But I think also I lived in college where I ate chicken and rice all the time. I worked out twice a day. I was in the best shape of my life, and it was like probably my most like miserable spot. And I think it also leads to a point of like body dysmorphia.
Oh, absolutely. Men have it 10 times worse than women.
Oh, men, there's a threshold that you break that you were just working out for dudes.
Oh, and that's pretty early.
And that's way
Yes.
like once you
Yes.
clear like 20%, the other 80% you're working out for guys.
Oh, I thought like girls had issues, but then when we got into like college, it was like, oh no, girl, we're hot. Like we're walking around naked. Like no, we're hot. Yep. And then it's like, yeah, getting into that like 9 years ago, watching those bodybuilders and then watching the men, and I'm like, hold on a minute. I'm like, ooh, y'all have like way more body dysmorphia than we do. I mean, we get, a little chunky, every once in a while during the winter.
I feel like it's only gotten worse, and I assume it's going to continue to do that because when you scroll through Instagram, you're not just seeing the guy that's the most jacked at your gym that happens to lift at the same time you do, like they did 10, 20 years ago. Now you're seeing the top 0.01%.
You're seeing C-bum like every time you get online.
Yes.
You're like,
And it's like,
bro.
you could do everything right forever, and you're probably not going to look like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, and there goes into another thing that I do, energy healing. So it's actually getting in there and like finding those triggers. And it's like, it could be a childhood thing of you sitting there and your cousin was like, damn, you going to eat that other piece of cake, you fatty? Or, or a kid calling you fat at school or whatever. It could trigger that, but you don't know that because you haven't really gone that deep to like find out why that triggers you, or why do I feel like I have to look like that person, when it's like when you really open yourself up and love yourself, it's like I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm 42, I'm a mom, I've got stretch marks, I've got scars, whatever. I'm still rocking it. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. And any woman that stands up next to me, no matter what size I are, I'm like, yes, girl, let's go. So it's energy healing too. It's getting down in that subconscious because we all have triggers. It could be anything. Yeah. But you got to dig deep.
Yeah. And I think that goes a lot into, we talk about this. We have a coaching group and every week. Do you follow Ed Milet at all? Mm-mm. So Ed Milet's a big guru, and he talks about keeping promises to yourself, leading to self-confidence. He goes, self-confidence is strictly built off keeping promises to yourself. I think people are terrible at keeping promises to themselves. Yeah. I could promise Ricky something, but then people are the first one to say, hey, you know what? I don't really need to go to the gym tonight. Like, I'd way rather go home and eat a couple ho-hos. Like,
right.
Something. And then it's like, that just dogs yourself down.
Correct. It's all thinking.
And then when you start, like, keeping promises to yourself in everything that you do, and it's from a relationship, it's from business, it's from fitness, whatever aspect of your life, when you start keeping those promises to yourself, I think that's when people really start getting that, like, I don't give a shit mentality, because it's like, you know what, I do what is right by myself, and like,
yes,
you can then help others that much more.
Just try to be better than you were yesterday. Like, just, whatever yesterday was, it could have been a bad day, could have been a good day, whatever. Just try to be better today, whether it be drink more water, say more positive things to yourself. go work out or do something good for your body. But when you watch like the top, like, you know, people, they're disciplined. They're disciplined in their sleep, in their thoughts, in their exercise, in their food. And it's like, if you can be disciplined in one thing, train yourself to be disciplined in all those other things.
And I think you hit something right there too, where you said people are disciplined in their thoughts. I think a lot of people visualize what somebody puts out via social media, different things like that. And it's like, okay, these people are super disciplined in the way they eat. All I ever see them eating is chicken and vegetables and rice. And then it's like their physique shows that they're really disciplined, but then their thoughts are a complete wreck.
Correct.
And it's like high school. I remember like in high school when I played football and one of the coaches like, you should wrestle. And I'm like, I've watched what those wrestlers do when they cut weight. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I have zero desire to do that. And
it's
like,
terrible.
It is terrible what it does to those dudes' heads.
Yes.
And like, you're in a development state of your life. And it's like, I am very glad that I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times you look that being in physically great shape isn't always the most important thing. I know a lot of people that are much better off mentally, maybe not as in great of shape, that live a much healthier, happier lifestyle because of that.
Oh, yeah. It's all mindset. It absolutely is. Like, you know, they call it spelling, you know, it's spells. It's like, you know, what you tell yourself, your subconscious is listening to that. So if you're constantly telling yourself you're a loser, you're lazy, or you're not the fittest in the gym or whatever, like your subconscious is listening to that. So that's a huge thing for me, is to like tell yourself positive thoughts, like affirmations. I always tell everybody, when that alarm goes off, instead of thinking, oh shit, you know, the alarm, I gotta get up. What do I have to do today? Say 3 affirmations. I'm gonna be on time today. I'm gonna be persistent today, and I'm gonna drink my water today. Just say those 3 things to yourself. You're already then starting your day off in like a positive, like, note. You're already releasing serotonins. You're already releasing dopamines. That's going to make your body and make you healthier and happier.
I haven't tried that. I'm normally at 4:30 in the morning. I'm still a little groggy.
But you know what? You should change your wording. Not as, I have to go do cardio. I get to go do cardio.
Oh, that is definitely something that like
go work out. I
love the fact of like getting up and just being so many steps. I feel like I'm many steps in front of everyone else. Like I look at it as it's me versus me, but it's also like day over day. I always feel like I am getting better every single day, work, relationship, fitness, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He does have to do cardio though, because he has a half marathon next month that he's been training for
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right, let me know how
So
that
he
goes.
does have to do cardio.
I do. Last time I ran was 2016.
That's a while ago.
My watch doesn't show me the year, so I'm just going to chalk that up as a while ago.
Wrap those knees.
I don't have knee problems.
Not yet.
It's more like ankle and feet problems.
We'll chop that little bit out, and we'll remind ourselves to replay that in about 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Once I'm victorious, though, I want that played back. That it was said right
I like
here.
it.
Yeah.
On
Another
camera.
big thing though too, though, especially in men, is hormones. Because once you pass 30, your hormones start to drop. And like men dropping testosterone, when you see those old grumpy ass men that are just like cranky, they have no testosterone. They are not happy. So like I always tell people, go get a full hormone panel. Just see like get a baseline. Then every 5 years or so, go get it again. But like that's a huge thing on especially men, and like not having the energy and just y'all being cranky.
I don't think I will say one thing. I don't think anyone ever says I'm cranky.
I'm trying to think.
I guess I'm wrong.
No, I totally agree. I was trying to think of any time that I would have considered you cranky.
I will say when we were in Springfield and you guys were waking me up and I was sleeping.
Maybe that's the one time, but that was like 2
Do
in
you
the
get
morning.
hangry?
No,
Oh, that's good.
actually one time.
A little bit.
It has
Not
to-
bad.
So once in a while, like I'll schedule out a day, and I'm really bad about scheduling a day that I just don't schedule it with eating at all. And if I get up at 4:30 and I go work out, and then I start hitting meetings, there was a day I rolled in, it was like 3:30, and I was just gassed, and I was like, my stomach has been growling for like 4 hours. I'm like, I need to eat something. I'm going to knock someone out if they cross me. But it was just like everything that day was just like coming my way. But 99% of the time I don't. So
that's good.
Yeah.
I get hangry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get a snotty little attitude.
I'm pretty decent though at just eating, like when I want to eat. Like DoorDash is a great thing that anytime that I start feeling hungry, I get food and it's coming my way. Like I feel like we have a luxury in life that we shouldn't be hungry.
Right. Okay.
I look like I'm never hungry, so.
But here's another little thing that can help you. So when we were in school, we prepared for a test. When we were going to get jobs, we prepared for an interview. So preparation your performance takes preparation. So if you want to be successful, prep your food. Then you don't ever run out. Always have snacks in your car, in your backpack. If you have a refrigerator at work, have like something in there. So always be prepared that when you have those moments that, oh, I'm driving, but I can eat a handful of nuts or whatever in the car from here to there. It's like being prepared.
So I'm working on getting better at that. I buy teriyaki madness by it a lot. So I have chicken rice all the time. But so out of your jobs and everything, I feel like the wellness side is something that's really cool that people get to dive into. That do you work predominantly with males, females, or is it pretty mixed?
Anybody. I mean, I've had from clients from like 11 years old, and my oldest client is 88.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I mean, he's awesome. He still lives on his own. He still drives. It's teaching functional training. Like when he squats, using, his core to keep him like balanced. When he goes to lift things, using his legs, just like different things like that. But seeing these older clients, like I also have an 84-year-old who will literally stand up, go down, touch the floor, and like pop right back up, they kept moving. They kept stretching and they kept moving. Like my one client, he walks 30 minutes a day. And then my other client, she walks like a mile a day. But keep moving and stretching.
I say all the time that body in motion stays in motion. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing I talked about this morning. That I hate this like Monday through Friday like workout schedule where people just like trash weekends. They're like, the weekend's my favorite time to work out. Mm-hmm. But I work out 7 days a week, but it's not like I'm killing myself 7 days a week.
Right.
If I go on Sunday, it's normally I'll go and I'll walk for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Right. I'll watch a movie or something, but it's like doing something to keep my body moving.
Yes. I've
bought a treadmill for my house where if I'm reading or something, a lot of times I'll go down and get on the treadmill, but it's just keeping my body moving.
Yep.
And I feel better. My joints feel better. I feel like that's why I don't have knee problems. Like I've always kept moving.
Yeah.
And I feel like when those things stop, it kicks in.
Absolutely.
Super heavy.
Absolutely it does. Yeah. Never stop moving and keeping your brain function going. Like, always challenge yourself, whether it be puzzles or, whatever you like to do, but always like challenging your brain. Cause like that's a big thing too is our brain. Like if you actually look at mental health, if they look at like brain scans, like you will see that they're just missing that total side of connection and they could be low on magnesium or zinc or whatever, but they're low on minerals, but they don't have that right brain function. And so they don't have that empathy or they don't have that, oh, well, if I make this decision, I'm going to end up in jail. Like they don't have that. And it's all brain function. Yeah. So focusing on brain health is like, it's huge too.
I think that goes right into that mental state that we talk about the half marathon, that when I made the deal to do it, like I have, like everyone doubts me in it because they're like, oh, you're way too heavy, you don't run, blah, blah, blah. But it's like David Goggins did the same thing. Have you read any of his books?
No.
She's really striking me out over here. So David Goggins, like, was a Navy SEAL, and he has done every special forces training.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He now, he ran 800-plus mile races in 8 weeks. Like, and when he started, he was like 300 pounds and went out and ran like, what was it, three marathons or some shit. His legs were like fractured, like completely wrecked. But he was like, my mind took over, and he's like, and I can do what he goes, your body can do so much more but your mind just stops you.
Right.
And I think that's something that, I mean, it was a lot smaller, but I raced a 5K in 16. That was the last time I ran. But I ran the fastest 5K, like, I've ever ran. Fastest single mile I've ever ran. I did it for 4.2 miles. It was longer than a 5K, but it was like one of those things that my legs were wrecked, my body was wrecked, but it was just like my mind took over. And I was like, I could have definitely done another 10.
Yeah, no.
It was numb. I was just.
That's
I don't either.
I may be a health coach and trainer, but you will not catch this girl running. Now, I've trained clients that have ran the Chicago Marathon and, the half marathons around Kansas City, but this girl doesn't run. Like, I ran track in, high school, but I was a sprinter, and, my coach wanted me to do, a mile for, a warm-up, and I was like, no. Yeah. I'm not going to ever run a mile in my life. Why do I got to? No, I'm not doing that. And it pissed her off so bad. But I was like, I'm not running a mile.
Yeah.
I don't run. But I always tell people, find what you love to do.
I hate running. I'm not saying that I enjoy running. I just thoroughly enjoy things that, push me mentally. When you can push past that, pain barrier.
Yes.
I feel like there's something to it that there's, few humans that, really unlock that in life where they break the threshold of, actually controlling their head. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that I feel like when you figure that out, it makes literally anything possible. And it's another one of those deals where you're keeping a promise to yourself that when you make that happen, that self-confidence is I can literally do anything that I want to do.
Yes, you absolutely can. And it's just, but having all those tools in your tool bag, taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, it's all of that so that you can have that open mind to get there and to do that.
So when you start with someone coaching, what does that look like?
Oh, we get deep.
Is that right out the gate?
Well, yeah, because I need to know your schedule. I need to know when you wake up, what time you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, your snacks. What time do you go to bed? What do you do before you go to bed? I need to know those things because we need to write out and plan a schedule that's going to fit you.
Right.
Because her schedule, is different from yours and from yours. So everybody goes to bed different times, wakes up at different times, eats different times. So it's just it's really digging into your day-to-day schedule and seeing, hey, let's fit it in where we can to make it fit you. Because when it does and it's easy, you're going to do it.
Right.
That makes sense.
Which is already a step ahead of modern medicine because you go to see your doctor. They don't ask you those questions. They just textbook, just skim through.
Oh, yeah. And it's all about food and water. It's how much, water do you drink? Well, what kind of water are you drinking? Are you drinking just tap water that has absolutely no minerals in it and your body's actually just still dehydrated? Mm-hmm. Or are you, actually drinking filtered water or alkaline water? But it's if food, what are you eating, Yep. But when I had my surgery on my leg, I asked my surgeon, I was like, hey, before I go in, can I get an IV bag, full of magnesium and, all the things so that, I'm good to go. And he's like, well, why would you want to do that? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe boost my hydration. He's like, well, are you an alcoholic? I'm like, well, no. And he's like, well, why would we do that? And I'm like, because it's a healthy thing to do. And he's like, well, I'm not doing that. And he would get irritated at me when I ask questions, but yeah, it's all backwards.
Yeah.
It's all backwards.
I totally get where you're coming from. I was a nurse prior to working in marketing. And so I've witnessed modern medicine and how twisted and messed up it is. And I feel now the more naturalistic, holistic physicians, I didn't know that was a thing 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Me neither.
And now I know someone personally who has just graduated and she's now a naturalistic physician.
Yep.
And I'm glad that those things are coming to light and people are discovering, oh, there's other things, not just prescription medication.
Right. Oh, there's so many other things.
Oh,
there's
my gosh.
Acupuncture, there's chiropractic,
Yeah.
there's energy work. There's so many things. Breath work. I mean, you want to talk about releasing some shit.
Yeah.
Go to a breathwork session.
Yes.
You'll walk out of there about 20 pounds lighter and just floating on a cloud.
Yeah.
What is breath work? I'm clueless over here.
Okay, so breath work is where it's a guided meditation. So you just go in. It's like a small room full of people. You can sit or lay down, but breath work. Her name is Melissa. She's amazing, right here in Kansas City. She will guide you kind of up a mountain doing breath work, and it's more of breathing in and out of your mouth. You're filling the lungs up and just letting them go. When she'll go through about 3 songs, and they get a little faster, so you take that breathing faster. Well, you will feel the energy come through your body to where you get technique, and you'll be like, meh, and you'll be like, oh my God. But it's that uncomfortableness. And when you breathe through it, when you get to that top of the mountain, it's kind of like you let go and you bring it back to kind of your normal breathing. The visuals and what your body does, like you're floating off the floor. Like, and everybody has different experiences. They'll see different things. They'll feel different things. They'll have, epiphanies or just like, oh my God, like I need to reach out to that person. And it's like the visuals that you have is amazing, but you're just releasing because we build up and hold on to shit. Like there could have been an argument a week ago that you're still
holding on to. Or
I think that's just, and this might come across sexist, but I think that's just a female thing.
That we hold things on for a week.
Females, like, she's like, you know what? I don't like that girl. We had an argument in the 7th grade. I'm still not over it.
I think girls just might be more open about it.
Yeah.
Tell
yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll tell you.
See, guys have some beef.
That
I feel
hoe, you know what she did to me?
yeah. See, girls always they have some beef with someone, and I feel like guys are like, yeah, him and I, we had a problem, then we got a fight, and now we're pretty cool. Like, yeah.
Well,
he's
yeah,
a cool
guys
dude.
just like fight it out, and then it's over with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Girls really don't do that.
No.
Most time, if like a guy has an argument, and you're like, it was last month, and you ask him about it, he's like, I don't even remember what that was about, but like, yeah, whatever.
But also traumas, like someone either passing away or getting in a motorcycle accident. Like that's different things that your body can like hold on to, which can actually like turn into other things. But it's just breathing and just clearing out.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
News to me.
They'll have them on Tuesday nights. It's they're free. They're love donations, and it's community breath work. And during the summer, it's actually held outside, so you get to be outside and do it.
Oh, dang.
Lay in the grass. Yeah.
I like that.
If I lay down there, I'd probably be like, is this dude snoring? He's snoring over
No,
here.
it happens every time. Every time somebody falls
asleep.
asleep, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, my gosh.
It's just at the end we might nudge you to like wake
Hey,
up.
time to wake up, bud. We're not leaving you in the park.
But that's what your body needed. So it's always like what your body needed. So like whatever, body, you're going to go through during that process, that's what you needed. You needed the sleep. You needed to cry. You needed to tense up. Like you just needed different things.
That sounds about par for the course right there.
It might be.
I think she just nailed
really
the,
might be.
She just nailed the whole room.
Oh, no, Tara, another thing that you said that I wanted to touch base on was you brought up mental health. For some reason, there's a huge stigma on mental health that people instantly just associate mental health with the most severe cases of mental health.
Padded rooms.
Yes, like they think, oh, you're depressed, you're automatically put to the end of the spectrum with mental health. And I think that getting more awareness of there's a difference between having slight depression and anxiety and being a serial killer. Mm-hmm. Like there is a huge span.
Are you sure?
Yeah. There's a huge span of differences there. And I think, again, like that stigma that people just think everything is bundled up in one and it's all just under one cloud. And it's like, I really enjoy hearing that you, with your like wellness training, that you dig deep and you find out maybe something 10 years ago is what is triggering their anxiety. And it's like, they may not have even noticed that, but.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's thank you, Internet, for
oh, my God,
diagnosing
You're
everyone
dying.
for the worst, like, mental health.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's really digging deep into those triggers. Like, if you are an emotional eater, it's like, well, let's go back to the first memory that you had of when you were really sad and you decided to, like, go and eat. But then it's also, too, looking at yourself in the mirror and calling yourself out, like, oh, I'm getting a little depressed. Okay, I need to change things up. I'm going to go for a walk.
Yep.
Or I'm going to tell you to say, hey, I'm, starting to we need to go out and do something. Like, I need your support. But it's noticing. It's noticing when you start to fall into those patterns of, oh, I'm really tired and I just want to sleep all day.
Yeah.
Help me. I'm starting to feel this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's digging deep and kind of going back to those memories, like, was I abandoned as a child, or was I adopted, or whatever? Was I abused?
Yeah.
Like, there's just so many things, because when you really look at every single person, they all have a story.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story. Everyone has a trauma, whether it could be death, it could be disease, whatever. Everyone has a trauma. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, how are we going to deal with that?
Yeah. No, for sure. for the longest time, I will be the first to admit, prior to going into nursing school, I didn't believe in depression. And I think that is because a family situation that I grew up with, I felt like that person was just always using it as a blanket excuse, which put a bad taste in my mind because I'm like, she's just associating everything with blaming it on depression. And like the older I've gotten and experienced it myself, I remember the first time I was like, holy shit, like this is a real thing. Same thing. I was like, I don't have anxiety. The first time I felt it, I was like, slap in the face.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
And then when it hits, you're like, oh shit.
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And it's, you know, a lot of people fall into that victimhood.
Yeah.
And it's re-changing that mindset. It's, you know, creating new pathways to help them to like not fall back into those same patterns.
Right. Yeah.
I also wish people would look at it more as mental optimization. Like you don't have to wait until you're at rock bottom to look for a solution like you have with your training or whatever it is, whether you're doing something by yourself. Like you can do that now and then your life's just going to be that much better.
Right. And you can kind of like do that in going into situations when you go into, say, your workplace, you know, always start out with a positive comment, say, oh, I love your shoes, or, you know, oh, great haircut or whatever, but always lead with like positivity. So then it's like you can kind of see when you walk into someone, you can read their energy. You can kind of tell they're off, reach out to them. Just be like, hey, do you need something? Or let's go get a coffee or a whiskey or whatever, you know. And it's
Early in the morning? Whoa.
oh, we're starting early. Oh, this one's going to be a good talk.
It's like, hey, it's Friday. Dalton, you're looking a little down. You want some whiskey?
But it's like saying, hey, it's okay. And also letting people know, hey, we're all on the same team. Because that's what we always say. We're all on the same team. I'm here to help you. You're here to help me. And we're not friends or enemies. We're students and teachers. I can learn something from you. You can learn something from me. And if you go into every situation like that, you're going to meet people who are like, oh, you know, you do need some like mental help. Hey, I have a friend, you know, like reaching out, but it's making it more okay to talk about and be like, everyone suffers from it. But just be more open with it.
Yeah.
I think also a lot of times people struggle talking to themselves. That I think those hard conversations that you have to have with yourself.
Oh, it's dark.
Most people don't have them.
Yeah. Oh, they won't.
And it's like they avoid it, and it's that conversation doesn't need to be had with someone else. Those are conversations that you have to be very real with yourself all the time on building the vision of who you want to be, what you want out of life. And
Absolutely.
we all write our own stories, and we get to write them however we want. But I think a lot of times I think today's world's 1,000 times worse, that playing the victim card is just a lot easier. That it's like,
It's not only easier, oftentimes it gets celebrated online.
it is. And it's turned into
Yeah.
hey, I'm bullied, now I can go this route or something. I have depression, or I have this, or I have whatever that is that they can grasp onto. Now there's a group of people over here. I can't get bullied anymore. I'm going to live in this space. And I think our world is getting worse and worse with avoiding, like my brother and our dad was super, super hard on us. My mom's side of the family, I have 13 cousins on that side that their parents were not the way that our dad was on us. We have built names for ourselves and live wonderful lives. And you look at all these kids that were given all these things all the time that had no discipline, and everything was whatever they wanted to be, and they're all a wreck. But it's like, I just look at those things that you have to have those conversations with yourself, that I have conversations with myself every single morning. What are my goals? What am I going to do? And it's like, what does this day look like for me? And it's like, I am going to build that of whatever I want it to be.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of times it's, hey, you know what? I'm not in the best shape right now. You know, it's Lizzo's on TV and everyone's saying it's great or whatever it is. Now it's being celebrated that, and it's like, somebody can't make fun of me for being fat anymore. So this is an easier route. I can actually go eat some shit food instead of going to the gym.
Right.
So it's like people are getting it easier, and people take the path of least resistance.
Absolutely.
And that route is getting easier and easier to be taken every single day, to where more people are taking that route. And the harder route is saying, hey, you know what? I'm fat right now. I need to do something about it. What does it look like to change that? What does it look like for me to change my financial status at work? What things have to be put in place for me to have a better relationship? And it's like when you start putting all these things in front of, those are conversations that you have to have.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I think so many people have gotten to where they want to go to all these different people that somebody's going to come up with a magical answer for them. That until you can have that conversation with yourself, I don't feel anyone else can help you.
Oh, absolutely. You have to do, the best thing you can do is work on yourself, and the best thing I can do is work on myself. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, you got to take that really hard look in the mirror, and it's dark, but you have to go through that dark to get to the light. And it's, going through all those triggers and the patterns, and it's like, oh, man, shit. Like, damn.
Do you find it easier working with elderly people right now or younger people?
Oh, elderly all the way. Yeah. They, still eat great food from the farmers markets. They still move. They don't have phones. Like, I think one of them has a flip phone. I wish I didn't even know it's still, like, you could still have.
Yeah.
You could still have a flip phone.
Ricky's dad has a flip phone.
Yeah. But, I mean, because they're just...
So what issues are you seeing that they have compared to the younger generation?
They know it's work. They know it's hard work, and they're willing to do that work. I'm sorry, this generation is that, and I'm going to say it.
Say it.
The fucking participation trophy kids.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
it's-
When you
100%.
started handing out those damn participation trophies, it's like
What did you
nobody had to
expect?
work hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like now everybody just expects to win, expects to get things without putting in that hard work. Like, you can come to me and, it's end of March, I need to be bikini ready by Memorial Day. And I'm like, we can start.
Right.
But, it's not going to be 3 months and you're going to have this rock hard body. Like, it doesn't work that way. And that's why people don't do a lot of lifting and stuff, because it's hard.
Yeah, and well, they're fed all these easy fixes too. Like, we do marketing for a Pure Barre company, and she was telling me about this new fitness fad that just came in. It's called Body 20, where you have to pay $350 to get this suit, and they advertise that you only have to work out one time a week, and it's like this new amazing thing.
For like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I was like, you're shitting me.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I'm like,
What?
are you kidding? Or what about the freaking magic chocolate syrup that
Yeah.
Can you get me one of them suits? I need one.
Yeah.
Will you try
It's
it before
just-
you buy it?
It blows my mind that people fall for that shit.
But they have, for years.
Oh my God.
Why do you think TV's called programming?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's programming.
really
like,
is.
from the foods to the
Yeah.
drinks to, it's everything. It's like, it's the quick fix.
Yep.
And life is not.
Yeah.
Like, to be healthy mentally, physically, emotionally is hard work, and you have to do it. But you can't convince someone that.
Yeah.
I can give you all the tools and lay them out on the table, but if you're not going to pick them up and use them, I can't help you. And I can read those people real quick and easy, and I'm just like, I'm not the person for you.
Yeah.
Because this is not a sprint. We're in a marathon, and like we're going to work on your body for the next 3 years.
She said she was a sprinter. I said I run a marathon.
But it's going to take time. But if you trust me, it's going to be a balance of, you can lift weights, you can do your cardio, you can do your food prep, you can have fun time with your family, still go out on the weekends with the girls. We can find your balance where you don't really have to give up anything. It's just finding your moderation.
Yeah.
I think you said something that, I live and die by work ethic. And the funny thing is, when people come here, they think, like, most people don't know we don't have any marketing degrees in here. And the whole hiring process has been strictly off their work ethic. Like,
Yes.
I meet people and I'm like, yep, they're good. And then people are like, how do you, I'm like, they're hard workers. That's what I look for.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, in today's space with like our generation is a bunch of cupcakes, and it's like, we're in a lane of our own. Like, it is so easy to win against our generation. Like, we're competing against people that don't even want to go to work. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're getting after it before they ever even think about getting up. We're staying later than them. And it's like, I've sat with marketing agencies that at the time were bigger than us when we opened, and they were like, well, why do you think that, like, and I'm very confident in what I do. Mm-hmm. And they're like, why do you think that, like, you guys can, like, have a better product than us? I was like, you want me to be honest? I was like, our team will work you guys under the table 7 days a week. I go, I know you have a 5-day work week. We will outwork you 7 days a week. But it's like free game right now.
If you're willing to learn and you have drive, you could do anything.
Yeah.
You can do literally anything.
It's easier now than it was ever before because in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, everyone worked.
Yeah.
It was just the norm.
That was the way of life.
It was the way people grew up. And it was like, I feel like my generation was like kind of the start of it shifting. And I feel in the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to see the biggest shift of money to ever happen. Because boomers are coming to a retirement, and it is our generation coming up is they're not ready. They don't know how to take over companies. They don't know the work ethic that goes into it. They want some get rich quick scheme. They want a get fit quick scheme. They want everything instantly.
Yep.
And with no work.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. So I feel that I say it all the time. I think the space is wide open and lit. Anything you want to do right now.
Yeah.
Anything you like to do,
Absolutely.
go after if you work at it.
Well, manifestation takes action. And if you take that action and, the drive and everything, your whole entire life, the doors will open, the opportunities will be there, the universe will answer. But it's like there's signs everywhere, but nobody pays attention. But when you start finally paying attention and everything is lining out and it just becomes easier and doors keep opening up and opportunities keep coming up, and it's like, oh, here it is. But manifestation takes action.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people also don't give the time to think about what they actually want.
Yeah.
And that's huge because
Or
if you don't know
what they want, but then they get into it and this is like, oh, nope, this is not what I wanted.
Right.
I think that goes for everything.
Yeah.
On relationships, I watch it from the outside in all the time of people that get into relationships that was what they thought that they wanted, and it's completely not. I've seen it with professions. I've seen it with, friendships, like so many things that people like, this is what friendship looks like. And it's, I have a very close group of friends here, but it's like, I also have friends I have talked to since high school, but I could call them at any given, or I take that back. That I was friends with in high school that I talked to maybe 2-3 times a year. And every time I talk to one of them or we go out to dinner, it's like we never even skipped a beat.
Right.
And it's like, that's not what I thought that I wanted 5 years ago. I was like, I need somebody that I'm hanging out with like every single day. Like, that's what a friend is. So it's like those things shift as time goes, and that what that really looks like becomes way different.
Oh, yeah.
And
when that circle becomes a lot smaller, but it's like, you'd rather have 4 quarters and 100 pennies. You know, it's a smaller circle and it's who you can trust. And those are the people that'll be there for you.
so with that, and we're talking about like everything just happening for a reason and like coming full circle. What got you into the weed space? Like, how did that look like ending up with Clover?
My old neighbor. My old neighbor was like their graphics designer and like did all their T-shirts and stickers and that kind of stuff. And he sends me a text and they're like, hey, my company is having an opening and I think you'd be great for it. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I didn't even know who he worked for. I didn't even know about Clover. And so when they called me and told me about the position, I was like, oh, well, okay, this is kind of what I already do on the down low, but I can do this legally and you're going to pay me? And I was like, okay. So, I went in for an interview and then I was like, well, I'm leaving for like Costa Rica for like a week, but I'll be back. And I was like, can I just start when I get back? And I did. And that was October of 21.
Very cool. So what was the position that you ended up applying for?
It was a brand ambassador for Kansas City. So I get to do all the education and events for the dispensaries and just basically any event now around the Kansas City area. But we do travel. We have someone in St. Louis and someone in Springfield. And we just hired a person for Central Missouri. But, now we get to just basically throw parties.
It kind of sounds like you get to do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I do. So, because we're out there and we're in the public, so we're like kind of like the face of Clover. So it is fun to tell everybody about our products because we even partner with Christopher Elbow. He's a famous chocolatier here in Kansas City that he has a storefront. Well, he makes infused chocolates, and we have bonbons and candy bars, and they're like like delicate chocolate.
Right.
Ricky eats like 100 of them, just levels.
So like a half of one piece, and it levels me.
Yes.
But chocolate also will digest differently than from like a gummy, just because of your metabolism. So teaching people that, and our drinks, the drinks are going to hit you 15 to 20 minutes like an alcoholic beverage, because it'll hit the bloodstream instead of the metabolism. So you're going to get different effects from different products.
I was glad to see that we took the revert back to weed, because I had a question for you. How do you respond to people that instantly just have a bad stigma with weed? They just associate it, like people that are not able to answer the argument between alcohol and weed. Like, why is alcohol okay when you think weed is not? How do you explain that to
number
people?
one, they didn't get the right education.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Number two, I see if they want to talk to me about it or they don't want to talk. Because the people are just like, oh, that's the devil's lettuce. I'm like, God bless you. Like, I'll just, be on your little merry way.
Right.
But when I first started working at Clover, it took me a long time to actually come out on social media that I was working for them, because of my personal training and who I had as clients. Mm-hmm. It really was like, oh shit, like I'm not ready yet to come out and be like, oh, I work for a marijuana company.
Right.
So that was like really hard for me. And I actually like made a whole commercial, like did it very like professionally, because I wanted it to like come out professionally.
I saw the commercial when it first came out. It was pretty long. And when it hit social, I was like, video quality. I watch videos like all the time, especially Kansas City company. So I was like, if they had somebody come in and we could cut it up and make reels out of it, I'm like, they would kill it.
But yeah, that was like, like a big thing. But if they do come to me and they're just like, that's just a drug. And I'm like, actually, if you actually looked at deaths, fentanyl, meth, those are actually like the leading causes of death, and alcoholism.
Yeah.
Accidents is number one from alcoholic.
Associated with alcohol.
For drinking. So it's like when they want to talk about it and actually like spit out the facts, and it's like, actually, you have an endocannabinoid system in your body. Your body knows what to do with that THC and that CBD. Whenever you take a hydrocodone, you're just covering those receptors and you're numbing it out. And then 4 to 6 hours later, it melts off and you're like, oh, I'm in pain again. When you have THC in your body, your receptors open up and it's like, oh, let's release cortisol, let's release dopamines, let's let your body release the inflammation or the nausea or whatever is happening, so your body can take care of itself.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm like, well, I wasn't given the right information about it. I grew up in a household with grandparents, and that the drugs were just like no drugs. Like,
right.
Any drug was bad. Yep. But alcohol was okay.
And smoking cigarettes was fine.
And cigars and all that was fine. So I actually never even touched marijuana until I was 33 years old. Mm-hmm. I was a drinker. Yeah. And so I was like, I was just, my friends would do it. And I'm like, cool, not for me. I'm just going to drink and drive. Dumb. So dumb. But then I'm like, this is so much better for my body. Like, what am I doing? So I gave up alcohol like 2013. So 10 years ago. And I've smoked weed ever since.
I think it is pretty crazy on the fact that they can get fentanyl to people in a hospital, like with as terrible as it is.
Oh, I got it when I had my motorcycle accident and they shot me in the arm. That needle went to my bone. Yeah. And I was like, I don't ever want that ever again. Yeah. Like I was like, I'll take morphine and throw up. Yeah. Like, don't ever give that to me again.
Or like you have surgery and the amount of pain pills that they're willing to send you home with. It's like, holy shit, no wonder we have an opioid crisis.
They give 18-year-olds a 30-day supply of hydrocodones for wisdom teeth. And you wonder why kids get addicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? So I watched a documentary on this, and you may know nothing on it. I watched a deal on LSD, on like microdosing. And
microdosing on LSD or mushrooms? Psilocybin?
I think both.
Okay.
Well, so Steve Jobs was like microdosing when he created Apple.
Absolutely.
Like they start going through all these like huge names that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the world? And I'm like, just going into like, I think everyone's perception on that's the same, that it's like you take it and you're going to watch the ceiling drip off and something.
Right.
But
so what marijuana was here in Missouri, 5 years ago, is kind of what psilocybin is right now. So it's under the radar, but it's becoming more and more conversation pieces. More and more people are microdosing. Psilocybin will change the world. And it should have back in the 60s before they burnt all of the facts and all the studies that they did on it, that it actually does cure depression and PTSD. But, it's way less cheaper and we can actually like heal people. Mm-hmm. So it's a no-no. But it's an absolutely magical medication that the earth has provided us to help with everything. Like, I mean, psilocybin it's the next marijuana.
That's shrooms, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
So when I was watching that thing, they were saying that like the two sides of your brain like never really connect. And they were saying that, like, I was looking at it strictly from a business aspect, that they were talking about all these high level business people that would use it and they would microdose for work because it would connect the two sides of your brain together. Mm-hmm. And they're like, when people would connect those, like Apple was created. Like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, just mind blown. I'm like, watch this documentary. I'm like, this is not right. I'm like, I watch it again. I'm like,
well, that's why Aaron Rodgers went down and did Aya.
Yes.
That's what made him come back and like make the changes in football is because of Aya. That's what got me started.
Know what Aya is.
Ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is it's a tree and a leaf that they put together in a drink, and it's Mother Earth is basically what you're drinking. And if I don't even know, like if you want to like take it to the next level and like have your moments with God or clear out any depression or whatever, it's people go and do it because you're seeing through the veil basically. Mm-hmm. This is 3D world. When you get up to 5D world, you see through shit. You see through the bullshit. You see through the smoke and mirrors. Like you actually will see through people. You will see the good and the evil. Like that's what got me into energy. Yeah. Cause like I had done a Reiki session with a friend and we're sitting there and she had these goddess cards and she's like, well, why is your name Tara? Well, my name was supposed to be like Melanie, but when I came out, I was too small and my name was too big and my mom was watching General Hospital and Tara was on there. So she named me Tara. And she was like, oh, okay. That was kind of weird. And so we're just sitting there and she's like, well, pick a card. And I was like, okay. Reached down, picked up a card, threw it at her and immediately just started bawling. And I was like, why did you put that card in there? And she's like, I just bought this today for us to use. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was Goddess Tara. So Goddess Tara was like formed out of a tear of compassion. She's here to help you from birth and death and all the things in between. I'm like, oh, that's me right here. And so that like sent me down. I'm like, oh my God, the connections that you do make in your brain and what you actually see and like being out in nature and doing it, not microdosing, but also doing it in ritual. It's life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. I've had so many friends who did it as a party drug, like in college. And I'm like, no, let's do it ceremonial to where it's like, oh no, we're going to go on a journey. Right. And it absolutely changes their lives.
Didn't think of it that way. I just watched a documentary. I watch a lot of documentaries.
It should have never been LSD. Literally, like the guys who came back from the Vietnam War, like they gave them LSD, and it cured all their PTSD.
They had a lot on that, and they were also talking about the percentage of people that go back to prison is like 60% or something, and my numbers could be totally off. But it was a much lower number that after they started like working with people on like shrooms and like LSD or like microdosing them, like actually sitting down, they had like lowered the number to like 20%.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I was sitting there, I was like, and I take documentaries for what they're worth because I feel like anybody can throw a documentary up on anything now.
Normally some of that programming like you were talking about.
So it's like I watch stuff and I kind of take it at face value.
Right.
And I'm like,
right.
But it was also pretty crazy when I watched it. I'm like, I go to my fiance Mass and I'm like, there's no way. Like, because it's all before our time.
Right.
But I'm like.
But it's all here. Yeah. No, it's all here. Like the microdosing, people are doing it. I have women doing it for their menstrual cramps, like monthly. They'll microdose that week before and the week during their period, and they're having complete like changes. They're going off the hormones, going off that birth control, and just completely like changing, their balance. I have people who are manic depressives, and they do the little microdosing gummies, and they're the happiest they've ever felt. But it changes your brain chemistry. But I 100% am all for it.
Yeah, that was totally off topic, but that was just.
I mean, I think that's going to be a pretty huge topic in the next few years.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's here. I mean, they already decriminalized it, out in Colorado. God, you can find it already in like chocolate bars and teas and just different things. So you can find it.
Is there any states that psychedelics are illegal?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I remember when Colorado decriminalized it.
Yes.
But I didn't know if there was any that actually.
I think if you get caught, you're just not going to get like arrested
look that
for
up.
it.
I think they're selling it in Oregon.
Oregon?
I do feel like that might be correct.
Yeah.
Somebody told me
Not
that.
LSD though. I think it's just psilocybin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just mushrooms.
And there are starting to be some companies pop up that with a similar loophole to Delta 8 with THC. I think there's starting to be like some psilocybin type products where it's not, there's something else that's going into it that they can kind of get around it, I guess.
Don't ever buy gas station stuff.
I
Don't do it.
I had a friend that was working the gym counter with us, and I want to say it was like for my birthday or something. He was like, "Here, I got you something," and it was these. The first red flag was it was like an actual candy company on it.
It was
like,
the same. It was like the logo trolley was on these
Yeah,
packages.
that's black market.
Yes.
yeah, and it was like this big octopus thing.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like 50 milligrams of Delta 8 is what it said it was. And I should have been fine if I took that. I took it and I started going up and it just kept going up. And at one point my legs were burning. We were driving back in the car and I couldn't stop moving. I was getting nauseous. I ended up throwing up in a bag.
He was puking in a trash bag. He was this white. He was.
It was bad.
We were over at a friend's house and I looked at him and I was
I think I got to go home.
I was like, "Are you okay?" And he looked at me and he's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh fuck! We have to go."
So that actually sounds like you had an allergic reaction. So there was something in there that your body did not like, and you were having an allergic reaction to that. Because with you throwing up and doing that, that's an allergic reaction.
Oh my god, it was insane. I was like,
So he's never had a sip of alcohol, but he'll take sketchy shit from gas stations.
That is true. That is true.
Sometimes, Ricky.
I've been in those parties out in the middle of a field where there's like a cooler full of sangria sangria?
or like
Jungle
rum
juice.
punch, jungle
yes.
juice.
You
Yes.
just dip your cup in there with everybody else and you're out in the field, okay?
probably.
But I'm like that too, though. If I'm somewhere and my friends have things and they'll just bring it, and they'll be like, "Here, try this," and I'll eat it, and they're like, "Wait, did you eat the whole thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah,"
Ooh.
and they're like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Oh no, what?" Before you hand me anything, you need to tell me how many milligrams it is and what it is, because I'm just like, okay,
Yep.
candy from a stranger.
I'm not eating anything that's handed to me ever. I'm sitting there no
But
go.
I have a really weird high tolerance, so I can take a lot of things and still be functional and be in control.
I think
never
everyone
lose
says
control.
that. I think everyone says that.
I never lose control. The most I've ever taken of mushrooms, I took 8 grams at one time.
I don't even know
Which-
if that's a lot or not.
3 grams is
people usually take 1 for just kind of a fun. I'm gonna maybe see a little bit of colors and stuff. 3 is okay. The wood's gonna kind of move and the patterns are gonna move. No, 8. You're around the universe, flying around.
I'm an astronaut.
Yeah.
I was that same way though. In college, you're at a party, you drink out of someone's drink, you get a drink that you don't know where it came from, and you didn't think twice about it. But now, I have a 16-year-old brother, and I try not to be that helicopter sister.
She's a helicopter sister.
I try not to be, but I literally had to I grabbed him by the shoulders and I was like, "Don't be fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Don't take anything that you don't know where it came from, especially now with the fentanyl.
Yep.
It's everywhere."
My 14-year-old is getting offered vapes on the bus and in the bathroom at middle school. But he knows better because, his dad's a cop, and he's he knows where I work, and he's like, he's like, I'm not touching any of that. But, it's so scary.
Sad. Yeah.
But, we would take, somebody would be like, "Oh, here's a shot," and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Or you'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to go somewhere," and you would just get in a random car with somebody and be driving off somewhere with, these random strangers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I never did that. I'm mind blown over here. I've done some dumb stuff, but nothing like that.
Oh, well, I've done so many dumb things.
Yeah. And it's
or somebody's like, "I have an airplane. Let's go flying." Okay.
Okay, that one sounds pretty
I'd
dumb.
be much more prone for that. Pilot's
They
licenses
were
are
strangers. I didn't know who they were. I'm like 23 years old.
They have an airplane. They got to be.
They got to be trustworthy.
There's
Yeah.
less pilots out there than there are doctors. Pretty hard thing to grab.
I almost got kept in Tijuana one time when I was 21. My grandma told me to try the margaritas while I'm there. Okay. They were in a little cup like this. And
How'd you end up in Tijuana? Was it like a trip or did
my
you?
best friend, her sister and brother-in-law, he was in the Navy, and he was stationed there in San Diego, so we decided to take the train down to Tijuana. We're 21. It's summertime.
Yep.
I'm very dark-skinned.
Yeah.
Those little margaritas were $2 for $1. And so we're starting to drink them, and they're like, hey, we have more flavors. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, we have mango. 8 later, we decide to go back across the border because we're like, oh, we gotta get back. Like, we gotta ride a train.
Right.
We get up there, she's in front of me, and the guy's like, what country do you claim? And I'm like, USA. And he's like, They thought I was an illegal trying to cross, and I had to go sit in this chair between like 2 Mexican guys for like 6 hours. We didn't get to cross over into like the United States till like 1 o'clock the next morning. It was the scariest time of my life. I'm 21. I'm drunk as fuck.
Right.
And I'm in like this Mexican holding area in Tijuana. I'm like, I'm going to die. This is a lesson. I will never come back here.
I learned my lesson. Just let me across the border.
Yeah.
But next weekend, she's like, that was a blast. We should head back down.
Nope. I was
my
like, get me
gosh.
back to Missouri. It was wild.
Yeah, that's I don't have any stories like that. I haven't ended up in Tijuana, thankfully.
No, I did this past summer. Yeah, I went to a bachelorette party at Lake the Ozarks, and we went to Shady Gators.
Sorry.
And
Memories.
one of the girls with us, she was like one of the only single girls out of our whole group. So she was like socializing, talking to all the guys. And there was this probably like 35, 40-year-old guy that she was like talking to in the pool. And he convinced her to come out to his boat because he was like, I have puppies. And that's the first thing. She's like, absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I want to go see the puppies. And so she starts going, and the security guard at front of Shady Gators, he like looked at us. He's like, I'm not going to tell your friend what to do, but don't let her fucking go out there with that guy. Like, he's like, do you want me to dangle some chocolate in front of your face too? Like, what do you expect? Yeah, you're going to get a girl to come look at puppies on your fucking boat.
That's why we get taken.
Did he have puppies?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like finally we like got her to not go out there, but it was just crazy that like
Oh yeah, it still happens. I mean, yeah, it's scary. I am thankful I do have a boy.
Yeah.
That I'm not like worried of like that, but I'm still like you have to like teach them to like protect themselves. I'm like, 'cause there's some sketchy ass people
I know.
out there
Yeah.
all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
wild.
I went to spring break freshman year of college. If I ever have a daughter, she's not going on spring break.
Yeah.
That was all I know after that. It was, or just really a child in general isn't going on spring break. That was the last year of Panama City before the beaches got blocked. But yeah, that was pretty crazy down there.
Yeah.
But business wise in Kansas City or Missouri weed market, what do you see in the next few years?
It's just going to keep growing. It's going to stay steady. It's crazy right now, but we're expecting that until at least like the end of the year, and then it'll like level off. But you're still going to get the high quality products. You're not going to get like those price gouging and like a dispensary on like every single corner. Like you're not going to have any of that. It's still going to be your high quality Missouri weed. And I mean I think we're the best right now in the United States. The way we run it, the way our laws are written, just everything is ran great.
How far out do you think we are federally from it being switched?
I would say in the next 2 years.
Wow.
No?
I think in the next 2 years.
Heck yeah.
Because more and more states are like now either voting on it to be medical or they're letting it become rec. There's going to be those few states, Kansas.
I know.
That's never, which is fine. That's going to help us. But, there's going to be those few. But no, everybody understands now that this is not the issue. This was back the issue all over money and the United States and Mexico. This had nothing to do with marijuana in the first place and what the benefits that it had. It was just put on that because of money and power.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of open their eyes now and be like, okay, this is dumb.
I feel like it's even weirder too that like there's a threshold, a state line that makes something that like that's like if I could buy this bottle on one side of the street and then the other side of the street you can't like. That's strictly like I feel going into politicians and it gets into not making sense to people.
Right.
And I feel like I really don't care what people do. Like I'm somebody that
Right.
I run my own race and it's like everyone else, like, I mean, if you want to go do heroin tonight, I mean, go for it. That's
Please don't.
Definitely not planning on it.
But that's totally up to you. Like it's your
Right.
life, you get to do what you want.
Right.
I don't like how regulated they are on everything. Now, do I think people need to be going out and doing heroin and driving cars everywhere? No. So there should be certain things, but I don't see, once again, I don't see there being a difference between alcohol and marijuana.
Well, the huge difference is marijuana is so much healthier for your body than alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol is numbing. You're numbing basically. I mean, yeah, you could be celebrating something, but you're actually like you're numbing. You're closing up all those receptors. You know, you're not going to release anything that's like a happy drug, and you're just making your body work harder. So yeah, I mean, alcohol is by far the worst thing like for your body, other than like prescription drugs, because it does absolutely nothing for you.
Yeah. I think 2 years, I mean, I was going to say 5. But I think that it's coming pretty soon that they're going to have to. There's too many states going.
I just feel like it's got to be such a headache for, I don't know who, but for somebody to have to deal with all that. Like, let's just all get on the same page
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Ricky and I went to a dispensary here. I think it was a Besame. There something that really like opened my eyes. There was a sign inside the dispensary that said, someone is sitting in prison for doing the same exact thing you're doing right now. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, but that was a big thing though with our Missouri law is the expungent
Yes.
is to, because also too in other states that have that, they're like, yeah, but they still had to pay for the lawyers and the fees to try to get their case, expunged.
Appealed, yeah.
But now with Missouri, it's like, no, it's done. It's like, it's immediately like thrown out. And if you don't have any other things
Previous
against you.
record, yeah.
If you don't have anything else against you, it's just a marijuana charge. It is immediately dropped
Right.
and they are released.
On the marijuana charge, I actually was talking to Ricky. Is it any marijuana charge, or is it like under a certain amount, or like if you were, is it case by case?
I think it's case by case.
Got it.
Because it's like if you were like armed robbery and then you had marijuana on you and paraphernalia, that like goes hand in hand.
That marijuana charge was probably just the cherry on top for
But
them.
it also could be like, oh, you're coming back with your Cadillac and you've got 500 pounds of weed strapped to your car. That might be a little different than you having a joint on you.
Yes, yeah.
I think it might matter like case by case.
Yeah, that
I think
makes
if
sense.
you're had like a lot, you might be in a little more trouble.
Yeah.
Because you might be trying to like sell it.
That makes sense. Like intent to sell.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The thing about somebody that's sitting in a jail on Missouri side, and somebody sitting in jail on Kansas side, two same people, like you could have two brothers that one lives on Missouri side and one lives on Kansas side, and both got caught with the exact same thing. And one is like, hey, yeah, I mean, you served your 2 years, you're good to go. Laws changed overnight. We voted on it. Laws are different now. You get to go.
Yep.
Your brother, though, he's on the Kansas side. I know he's like 5 miles away, but he stays.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
I just don't know how people that logically think can look at that and say that makes sense.
Well, we're in a predicament right now in this United States that there's a lot of logically things that just don't make sense. It's like, man, if people would really think about who's connected and how things work and like put all the pieces of the puzzle together, I mean, there would be so much more like connection, like logical thinking, but there's not for some reason.
Oh, people toss common sense completely out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're more into trying to argue that like, I am all for having political conversations, and I'm perfectly okay with somebody disagreeing with me.
Right.
Doesn't mean I'm going to think any less of you. Doesn't mean we're going to fight. Doesn't mean I'm going to raise my voice. We can just have a conversation about it, and we can agree to disagree.
Right.
But it's like, I've had conversations with people that they just start like screaming out of nowhere. I'm like,
And no logical sense.
I'm like,
No, like the sentences don't
this-
even make. And that's when you meet people where they are,
Yep.
because they have the blockers on. Like they can't hear you. They really can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you could say, hey, she's wearing, a black shirt and black pants, and they're going to be like, no, it's blue, which they could be colorblind. That could happen.
I'm colorblind.
Okay.
But that
Well,
is
you
black.
might see blue or green.
That is black to me though.
But, those are the people you have to leave them where
Yep.
they're at, because they're not going to hear you. You're not going to hear them, and you're wasting your energy. And that's what I learned early on, was like protecting your energy, and your energy is so sacred. Be careful who you give it to. And that's in daily conversations, that's phone calls, that's relationships, that's, it's everything. But be very sacred of who you give your energy to, because there are some energy suckers out there, and that's what they want you to argue. They want to make you upset. They're aggressive. They're angry. They want you to be angry at them.
They feed off of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
they feed off of drama. Their
Yeah.
drama. And it's like, you're like, nope. Like,
And that's going to piss them off even more and get them more worked up. And you're just like,
yeah, you just gotta take a step back, because you're not gonna make any sense to them. No matter, I don't care if you had it written in a book from the history of whatever, natural history. They're gonna be like, no, they're not gonna see it.
yeah.
No, I like that. I think we've hit on weed, we've hit on wellness. I think we've covered a lot, and I think there's probably still hours more that we could cover on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a huge topic right now, and everything that's happening, I think, in the business vertical, I mean, it's booming, and it's a very progressive market.
And it's fun, and there's tons of jobs out there. Even for someone just starting in it, go be a bud tender. Go learn about the business. Then you can move up into management. I mean, there's so many opportunities, whether it be in the grow and the cultivation, or a manufacturing side, or a dispensary. There's so many opportunities in the marijuana business that it's just unbelievable. It just totally exceeds your expectations.
Yeah, when people are like, I can't find a job, and they're like, hey, we just hired 70 people. It's like,
Exactly.
Right. And you may be, doing some packaging or working in a kitchen for a couple of months, but still then you could get moved up to a lead, and then get moved up to like something else. And you get to learn, because every position you'll learn a lesson, and you'll learn a little tool, and you can just apply that to the next position and just keep moving up.
Yep.
And it's a fun industry and really fun people.
Yeah.
We're actually getting into the NFL. The NFL is trying to merge football and marijuana. It's becoming like a more popular thing. And so we're going to do a big thing with the NFL draft and golf tournaments and all sorts of stuff.
very cool.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, even some of the Chiefs like weed.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Yeah. I feel like some have been pulled over for that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that I always kind of like wrap up towards the end of the podcast with is a question that, if you could go back to your 20-year-old self, what would you tell her?
Keep fucking rocking. Keep doing you, boo. Because, like, I never belonged to groups. I never fell into, like, oh, I got to belong to this group. I've always just went on to my own beat a drum, and I've just done whatever the hell I wanted to do. I just keep fucking going. Keep, trucking along. Keep doing you. Keep the drive up. Keep the positive thinking up. Fight through the battles.
I like it.
Love that.
I like it a lot. Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Just keep fucking doing you.
Yeah, it's, I've always kind of just had that. I've always just done me. I've wore what I want to wear. I've done what I want to do, shaved my head, whatever. It's like, went into work in healthcare and then completely quit that job and went into, I'm going to be a personal trainer, and my family's like, kind of what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
But then it's turned into now, I'm doing the marijuana business, and I'm writing, and I'm still doing, the health and wellness, and I get to do all these things.
I like that. I like that one a lot. That's she probably needs to throw that quote on her shirt. Any final thoughts wrapping up from
I
anyone?
don't think so.
Anyone?
That was a good one.
Just stay positive,
Stay positive.
Positive thoughts,
love it.
what you tell yourself. It's just like what you tell other people,
Yep.
Just stay positive. Lead every situation with a positive thought or a positive word. And just take care of your body. You only get one. You only get one vessel in this lifetime, so take care of it.
Yes.
Take care of your body and positivity. I live by positivity. And if you take one thing away from this podcast, be positive. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
much. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thank you. I did too.
And I'm going to see if Dre's over there, and we're going to key Dre.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.